Talk about it all here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
You know, one thing about Jaden that I've tried to talk to him about is tightening his chin strap. Because he doesn't tighten it, so every time he gets hit, it looks like his helmet's all messed up. And it's like, oh, God, he just got rocked.
For the win! Caught! It's gone! LSU does it!
After fucking Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, boys. Are you kidding me?
Well, LSU fan came and stuck his spike in my booty.
That motherfucker hard!
Fan brought his 2 grandkids by and literally was just 30 seconds, just wanted to say thank you for the team and the season and what you did and how much it means to everybody here is truly what makes LSU special.
Yeah. Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. It's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question. I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go! All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Good morning and welcome in here on this Thursday. As the weather's nice here in Baton Rouge, but in Norman, Oklahoma, not so much. Or the LSU Fighting Tigers baseball team will be taking on the Sooners tonight. Lloyd is here, still waiting. Christian's return from Oklahoma as well.
Oh, God, he needs to get back.
We haven't really heard from him too much. I think he popped in a little bit yesterday. Maybe said something, but not too much from the young man.
The young boy.
As he's enjoying the reservations in Oklahoma. Wondering what his girlfriend's up to in Puerto Rico. But
I hope he doesn't have cell service.
Yeah, me too.
This is in Arkansas.
Do what?
This is in Arkansas.
Oh, my word. Is that real?
Oh, yeah. So I hope it's not going to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
I hope it goes back into the sky and go away.
Stop.
This guy needs to move.
Yeah, these are the people that blow my mind. Like the storm chasers.
It's coming at you, brother. Oh, they're in the bunker.
Oh, they're in a bunker. Okay.
That's where we do the show from. Used to.
Yep, UDL. Yeah, I would be freaking out. But like Spectrum Wellcare says in the chat, big game tonight. Big game for LSU baseball. On this Thursday night, this game
Top
1
10
edition.
matchup.
It is top 10 matchup with Oklahoma. LSU men's basketball has more portal news yesterday as Rashad King, a shooting guard, a 6'6 shooting guard from Northeastern, a smaller university, has joined Matt McMahon's team and has signed. Here we got a little chaser
This is LSU in the portal.
Yeah,
sweeping everybody up.
Working. They signed Rashad King yesterday. LSU women's basketball has another portal entry as last year Poa puts her name into the transfer portal. Not the biggest surprise, I don't think. I think a lot of people were more surprised that she still had eligibility left as she was a senior this past season. But due to the Diego Pavia ruling, she still has a season where she can go out there and join another team. And it will not be LSU as they, in my opinion, are moving on to a new guard of players, a new era of LSU. You saw the two very talented high school recruits in Grace Knox and Zakiah Johnson the other night in the All-American game. And Knox is the only one of those high school players that's a forward, not a guard. So they're bringing in 3 guards out of high school, along with Jada Richard, who they brought in last year. It's just a new crop of guards coming in, a new era of LSU women's basketball, and now their focus will shift to adding from the portal. Like we said, LSU baseball tonight. Big series.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday again. And this is, people are wondering why. It is because LSU is a national brand and they want to put them on national television. So they're playing on, I believe, ESPNU, and then they moved the Alabama series as well. They moved the time so they could play. No, they're on ESPN2 tonight, and then ESPNU for the Alabama series.
Yep. So, I mean, with the...
You'll take some of those if it gets you on television so Jay can do his one recruiting pitch live. That's the only time he ever enjoys the in-game interview.
Right. And, I mean, it makes it easy to watch the biggest brand in college baseball. And with the Final Four and all that going on this weekend, making sure the Tigers get on TV where all eyes can be on them is a possibility. So, like Lloyd said, big Thursday, Friday, Saturday stretch here as the Tigers take on Oklahoma in what's a top 10 matchup.
I'm starting to wonder why Oklahoma's ranked in the top 10. I looked through their schedule. They have 2 wins early on in the D1 Baseball Classic, so that's the Round Rock, which is their tournament.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not surprised to see them maybe weighting those wins that happened 2 months ago a little
heavier.
Bit more. But it was Virginia, I believe, I don't think they're very good anymore. And there was another one where they won 2 games early on. I think that kind of boistered them into the top 10. Because when you look at their numbers, not the best, Bob.
Yeah, it hasn't been anything that's really jumped off of the page as I'm looking at it here. Their SEC series, they won 2 out of 3 against South Carolina.
Well,
2 out of 3, and as well as 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State. So, I mean, those are 2 bottom of the pack SEC teams from record standpoint. But then they took on Alabama on the road last weekend and dropped 2 out of 3 in that one. They are 10th in the SEC with a .296 batting average, 9th in the SEC with a 4.15 team ERA. Their ace right-hander, Kyson Witherspoon.
Now he has numbers.
Has a 5-1 record with a 2.31 ERA in 39 innings with 64 strikeouts and 10 walks in 7 starts.
Second in the SEC in strikeouts, third in the ERA. So that got plays.
Yeah, he's got a fastball that averages 96, can get up to 99. He's got a slider, curveball, cutter, and a changeup that's faster than the fastballs of many other pitchers. Against Alabama last weekend, he gave up 4 runs, 3 earned in 4 innings with 3 walks, 1 hit by pitch, and 6 strikeouts. And then their Game 2 guy is the twin brother of their Game 1 guy. How about that? We've got the Pearson brothers on LSU, but back-to-back Friday night, Saturday night twin brother starters is something else. But nothing that really jumps off the page when you're talking about Oklahoma. Obviously, lefty Cam Johnson is a transfer from LSU. If everyone remembers, he was like the highest rated recruit to make it to campus out of IMG.
Yes.
The big lefty. Never really put it together for LSU last season. And with his numbers this year for Oklahoma, he has got a 2-0 record with a 5.59 ERA and 19 1/3 innings with 21 strikeouts and 17 walks in 6 starts. And he's been starting the midweek games as of late.
Yeah, he did. He threw over, I think he threw on Tuesday whenever they played their midweek game. Didn't make it out the first inning. And so the same story, I wish nothing but the best for the young man. As
Right.
He was the highest-rated recruit to ever come to campus for LSU. Highest-rated pitcher as well. That wasn't through the transfer portal. But then he just never has really figured it out. It's the same story of just too many walks, can't throw strikes, gets behind in counts, and then as electric as his stuff is, if you can't hone it in, you can't play. So they've tried to start him on the weekend. He started some Sunday games. He started on Friday a couple of times, and now he's in the midweek, and he can't get out of the inning. So I don't know if he'll play a factor at all, but he is set up to be able to pitch against LSU. I think he only threw 24 pitches.
So, yeah, no numbers that really jump off the page. When it comes to their hitting, they've got Trey Gamble, who leads their team with a 3.77 average, 6 doubles, a homer, 10 RBIs. He's got a 5.36 on base percentage. Then they've got their leader in home runs, Jackson Willits, who's batting 308, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 7 home runs, and 27 RBIs, tied with Easton Carmichael, who's batting 296, has 5 bombs, and also has 27 RBIs on the season. So nothing that really jumps off the page, but nonetheless, they are still a top 10 team, and they're an SEC opponent, which means they're probably going to be pretty good. And so now LSU is on the road again in the SEC, and that didn't go too well last time. So it would be a nice step in the right direction, nice breath of fresh air. LSU is able to go on the road in nasty weather all the way to normal on a short, kind of a thrown-off week from a time standpoint. To go up to Norman and take care of business would be awesome for LSU, as when they headed over to Austin, that weekend did not go according to plan. So it'll be nice to see if LSU can get a nice away series win in the conference under their belt.
Because you've seen LSU the last time they went on the road for a true road series against Texas, and they lost the first series loss on the year. You want to see how they can kind of perform on the road, and you'll get a good sample size of that, as they have this series on the road, then a midweek on the road, and then another 3-game set on the road. So I think they go to Auburn. Mm-hmm. So for LSU baseball, about to be road dogs, about to get tested, and it has not been the most enjoyable travel schedule as of yet, whenever you have to do what you did at home during the weekend, which, testament to them. I don't think that gets enough credit for having to battle through starting games at 10:30 at night, finishing at 2 in the morning, having to turn around and play on Tuesday and be able to beat Louisiana Tech, who took ULL to the woodshed last night. So you've seen that, like, Louisiana Tech, not that bad of a baseball team, right. And LSU was able to kind of, I guess, bounce back, quick turnaround, and now they have one day off on Wednesday. I'm sure they practiced and flew and are now in Oklahoma for a Thursday tilt.
Yep, so they go at 6 p.m. tonight. But, yeah, they will not be back in the box until April 15th in a midweek against McNeese, as they will have Oklahoma and Norman this weekend. They head to Thibodeau in the midweek next week to take on Nichols, and then they're headed to Auburn next weekend for another SEC series on the road. So, yeah, like Lloyd said, it's really been thrown off from a time standpoint, the schedule this week. And the biggest hope is that doesn't happen again this weekend. with the weather that Norman is having and the rain that's already starting over there right now. Hopefully that can all kind of pass, get through, and LSU can just play a regularly scheduled weekend series, and there aren't any late nights. Because like Lloyd said, I mean, there have been multiple, we touched on it a little bit yesterday, multiple timing situations thrown off for LSU baseball this year. When you're talking about the way the Nichols game early in the season went, that got moved to a Monday. So you play Nichols on Monday, you got Dallas Baptist on Wednesday, then you head to Frisco on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You turn around on a Tuesday, Wednesday against North Dakota State. Then you have, I think it was North Alabama, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, before you finally got into a real rhythm. Well, now you look up and they played a Thursday, Friday, Saturday weekend, but on Friday and Saturday the games start at 9 and 9:30. And then they turn around, they play on a Tuesday. They go all 9 innings, which has been a rare occurrence for the midweek games for LSU. And then after playing all 9 there, they have 1 day off, and here you are in Oklahoma where you're hoping the weather doesn't throw another wrench in your timing again. So it really has been an impressive ability for LSU to be able to adapt and shake back and stay on target, stay on line, and play these series regardless of what kind of the scheduling mishaps have been. So Andrew Messina in the chat, need 2 out of 3 the next 2 weekends. Shane LeBlanc responds with doable, but not going to be easy. Not at all, but it definitely is doable for LSU. As you've seen, they are one of the most talented teams in the country, and it would be massive if they're able to go 2 series on the road, take 2 out of 3 against SEC opponents. Like Shane said, not going to be easy whatsoever, but that would be massive for the future, for this season for
stack
LSU.
These wins against, I know it's a top 10 matchup, but stack these wins against teams that are not the perennial powers that you will have to face whenever you have to face a Tennessee team, an Arkansas team,
right,
and an Alabama team that are still, like, they're playing some of their best baseball in the SEC. Those are when it'll become, you can start seeing you maybe lose a series or 2 again. Right. But when it comes to this Oklahoma, and there's a way that LSU can lose this series if you really want to look at it. Kyson Witherspoon, obviously a stud on the mound, goes against Cade Anderson. There's a chance that you get into a pitcher's duel. But for the one thing that Cade's been able to do is he's pitched well in these, like, whatever, he's been the first guy up. The thing that I believe threw him off last week was 4 days rest, got into a game with a tight umpire and had to start serving it up over the middle, and gave up a couple early home runs. But LSU still had the firepower to be able to make a comeback and win. But if there's a game to circle early on, it is that Witherspoon game where he is one of the more dominant pitchers in the SEC. You could see a lot of swing and miss, and that's how – because Oklahoma, what they've been able to do, we went through the schedule yesterday.
Yeah.
And like I said, that doesn't – we were wondering – it was Mikey's like, how are they ranked top 10? How do they win? And in every game that they've played in, they keep close, they compete. So if you stay in the fight against an LSU team or wherever you play, Oklahoma has propensity to be able to get a win. They scratch and claw. And so for LSU's sake, don't give them free passes, don't put them on the base pass, because you don't want to end up in a scenario where you look up and it's 3-1, 5-1 in the 7th, and Kyson Witherspoon's still throwing. And it starts to feel like you wasted a Cade Anderson outing.
Right.
So that's where I would imagine LSU will have to kind of fine-tune those things, because if it's Cade Anderson and Zach Cowan, you feel very good about that setup. So you want to be able to get to Kyson Witherspoon early, maybe get into the bullpen, whatever it takes, but you want to be able to be set up to not have to burn 2 of your best arms in game 1 and not have a win. And then you could go down the list of Ianson against Cade Crossland, who is scouted to throw. 1-1, 6.6 ERA, 24 innings pitched, 13 walks, 29 strikeouts, and then they have a TBA for Game 3.
Yeah, so I mean, just looking at their last couple of games, they beat Texas Tech in the midweek 8-6 in a close game. In the series against Alabama, they dropped 2 games with an 8-6 score, and they win one 6-5.
See?
Against Mississippi State, they win 7-3, 13-11. And they dropped game 1 2-1 in a battle. South Carolina, they won 6-5 in 10 innings. They won 8-5. They lost 11-5. So they stick around a lot of these games. A lot of these baseball games are close. Like Sam Houston, who LSU played earlier in the season. Oklahoma had a series against them. Oklahoma won 6-5, 7-3, 9-7. So they have an ability to win these close baseball games where if they, like Lloyd said, they can stick around. That they've shown the ability to be able to close it out and find a way to win. They did play DBU earlier in the season, and they lost 11-0 to Dallas Baptist, who LSU also played earlier. So some familiar opponents. But, yeah, I mean, this is a series where, like Lloyd said, you want to stack up your armor, essentially. Like you want to put as much cushion on your win-loss ratio as possible heading into what is the gauntlet of the SEC you have later on in the schedule. Like you said, when you're talking about Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, those types of teams that are at the top of the league right there with you, to make sure you're okay if you lose a couple of those series is by going and taking care of business against Oklahoma, taking care of business against Auburn, and building up that cushion. Andrew Messina in the chat, Anderson has to give the Tigers a deep inning game. 6+ would be awesome. Set the tone for the weekend. So, yeah, like Lloyd said, the one thing you don't want to do is for the bats to be a little dead and you let Oklahoma sneak around, stick around, and find a way to win that game. You don't want to lose an Anderson start, especially if you're pitching Anderson and Cowan. The last thing you want to do is for that to have a loss on the scorecard.
And I don't know. It feels like that was at least the plan that you've seen going forward for the last couple of series with Cowan following up Anderson, whether it's with a one-inning buffer or not. You saw Bench go out for 2/3 of an inning. But, yeah, I think that'll probably – I think it's what people expect, but it'll probably play it by ear because LSU hasn't really been down in these games. Whenever it was Kate Anderson got down early against Mississippi State, Cowan didn't start getting really ready until LSU started to put some runners on base. Like, he wasn't going to be used if LSU didn't have a lead.
Right.
And so if LSU was able to get and hold a lead probably by the 5th or 6th inning, that's when you'll see Cowan come in and hopefully be able to shut the door because they don't want to use – certainly they don't want to have to use Cowan, Evans in the same game, as you've seen people complain about that. Because now they have an extended role, it seems like, for Case and Evans to do the same thing Zach Cowan's doing. And so I don't know how sustainable that plan is moving forward. You've got to see some of these other arms show up in the bullpen, and because that's what you see on Game 3s, right? You want Chase George to be able to go as long as he can, but when he can't, it becomes a free-for-all.
Yeah.
It's matchup-based, it's field-based, it's if you don't throw strikes-based, and so you kind of empty the tank on a Game 3 to try to get a win. But if you have to go through that bullpen earlier, I don't know how many arms you have available that you'll be able to use for extended time. So that's just the other side of it, because I fully expect LSU to be able to go in there, bang it around.
Yeah.
You have to trust, like, Kate Anderson, one of the premier starters in the SEC, if not the country. Same thing with Anthony Ianson, who's been able to – it's been a little bit up and down for some people, but you can see the talent's there, the strikeouts are there. It's just more so of kind of getting him out of tight spots and being able to work ahead. And then for Chase George, you're still waiting for that one – like that start where you go, okay, there it is. That's what we've been waiting for. Because before the year, a lot of people pinned him as one day being your Friday night starter.
Right.
And he has all the stuff in the world. It's just a matter of, like, he's not even getting hit hard. It's the BAPIT balls in play.
Yes.
Like, it's not going his way as of now. But I still have full faith in those three guys being able to get you a series win.
Yeah. No, I mean, when you look at the scorecard or the pre-game roster, pre-series roster, and you see Chase George versus TBD, you usually can have a pretty good feel. Like, obviously, when that happened against, who was it, Texas?
Yeah, you got some guy. I mean, and that's baseball.
Right.
You'll have a guy that's never started a baseball game before in college come in and throw 6 innings in your face of one-hit ball, and you're like, this is not the way this is supposed to go.
Right.
So, yeah, you always feel good at seeing a TBD because they don't have – I mean, we went through this last year with LSU. Like, whenever it was trying to find that third guy. Somebody. And it was like, now it's just Johnny Holstaff. And you had to become comfortable with that and find ways to win. To have 3 guys kind of penciled in already before the series starts, and you kind of know it on Monday who's going to throw on Game 1 and Game 2 and Game 3, that's a great spot to be in.
Yeah, 100%. So it'll be a big one tonight. LSU can get their series started with a win over Oklahoma as they take on the Sooners at 6 p.m. tonight in Norman. Oklahoma is the number 10 team in the country, 23-5 overall, 5-4 in SEC play, as they take on LSU, who's number 7 in the rankings. Still, haven't gotten that nice boost up yet, but coming off of a nice series win against Mississippi State, where they really won in really every fashion.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at last weekend, they win on Thursday in a game where they were behind the 8 ball 6-2, and they have one of those innings where they just rocket the baseball, and you had a Danny Dickinson home run and a Stephen Milam home run to get LSU back in front. And then they went on a Saturday in a 2-1 pitcher's duel where Einson throws 12 strikeouts. Evans comes in with 6 strikeouts, and then they closed it out with a runaway offense performance and a 17-8 win. So they've shown they've been able to win in multiple different capacities. Looking to see them continue that streak tonight as they take on Oklahoma and get this weekend started. So, Lloyd, what are your expectations for this week? I know we've touched on it a little bit, but Sabrion in the chat says, sounds like if LSU plays their best, it should be a sweep. Obviously, you don't want to expect a sweep at SEC play.
Right.
But if LSU plays their best and goes out there and does what they're supposed to do, what do you expect to happen?
I do think it's contingent on it. I would be hard-pressed to say that tonight's game won't be a bit of a back-and-forth affair with Cade Anderson and Kyson Witherspoon. This is one of the best pitchers you faced up to throughout this year.
Right.
Like, you saw what happened when Texas threw their guy against Cade Anderson. Cade was able to outduel him. That's one of the guys that I think he's throwing on 4 days rest as opposed to Cade, who finally gets his 5th day, because you had your series Thursday, Friday, Saturday last year. Right. So he's back on the normal rotation. I think that's going to help him a ton. But Witherspoon does scare me with his ability to strike people out, power fastball. And I guess people will see this as a good thing, a bad thing, just so everybody knows, right-handed pitcher. I saw it in the chat. But the numbers are real. He just hasn't faced the best competition yet.
Yeah.
And that's where you kind of have to hang your hat that, it could be a sweep, because LSU's kind of, whether what they did early on throughout the year or what they've done in SEC play where they've played high-leverage baseball games, they feel a little bit tested. They feel like they don't get fazed by a lot.
Right.
And so going into an away series at a ballpark that's not very big, but they've won. I forgot what I just saw. I think they have – how many wins do they have?
Who, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think they've won 21 at home.
Yeah, they're 23-5.
Yeah, they play well at home, as which everybody should, but – it'll be interesting to see LSU's first road test again. That's why Game 1 gives me the one pause, just because of going against Witherspoon. Game 1, that's not at your place, and it does wonder if the weather impacts the game at all, or the crowd show out for LSU's first real trip to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Jay Johnson's never coached against them. They've never been to Oklahoma. None of the team has first SEC matchup. All of that plays, like the unfamiliarity of it all does play a factor, but. I mean, I would be hard-pressed to go against Cade Anderson at any point. So, yeah, there's definitely a world in which a sweep is in play. But the safe answer is always to take 2 out of 3, and that feels like a sweep. But, yeah, I do think a sweep, if speaking from the heart, I think LSU could sweep Oklahoma, because I need to see them do it against real competition. Like, you shouldn't be dropping any games to South Carolina, to be honest. Like,
right.
At that point in the year where you met them, you should have swept. And so – if they keep playing close games, I see it, but I don't think they deserve that top 10 ranking. I think it's a bit of non-SEC bias where they put they want to put some teams in front, but at some point you run out of teams, and if it's what they're doing in the SEC and winning series, like lop them in at 10.
Right.
But we'll find out, because as the season gets going, and this is, like I said, Oklahoma's first true test in the SEC, and you saw what happened, I would say, they played against Alabama, lost 2 of 3, and I understand that was at Alabama, but still, Alabama is akin to what LSU could do to them too, so that's why 2 or 3 feels very safe to say.
Yeah, no, I agree. Andrew, I'm seeing in the chat, Jake Brown will likely win in the lineup versus a right-handed pitcher. What do you expect? You expect Brown,
Fry,
and Reeves at third?
Yep.
To be in the lineup tonight. as they line it up against a right-handed pitcher.
It's probably your most powerful lineup in terms of the swings that can do the most damage.
Right. Yeah, anytime you can have
all three of them, then.
Yeah, all three of those guys having Fry in the mix. Having Fry in the mix with Dickinson and Milam, and it really is a good sign to see Fry coming along and hitting the ball the way he is, because that's like Lloyd said. I think yesterday we talked about it a little bit, because of the show he put on against La Tech in the midweek. That's a powerful bat to have in the lineup, and he's swinging it well right now.
Yeah, and it's a guy that's playing well. It's not just, oh, it looks good. It's been consistently very good.
Right.
And we harp on the midweek games a little bit, and some people say they're not important. To Ethan Fry, they're very important, because if I'm not in the lineup and I get to play on a Tuesday and I keep going, 3 for 5, 4 for 5, hit 2 home runs, at some point it's going to be too good to ignore. And because of the way this team is constructed, I think it's a testament to them and the character of the guys and all of that, because like Pearson has played well this year, probably played his best baseball at LSU. And at some point, but then you have Jake Brown, who also can hit right-handed pitch because he's actually a lefty. And you like Jake Brown on the outfield because of his ability to move and what he's done offensively. And Pearson hasn't been bad, but it feels like he's one of the guys that doesn't really mind if he plays or not. It's like whatever's best for the team, like wake me up in June.
Yeah, I'll see you in Omaha.
Right. And then that's where you're like, all right, 2-1, 2 out, you're down by 1. Pearson's batting somehow.
Yeah.
And you're like, I feel very good about this.
Always finds a way.
It'll either be that or they start Pearson and then DH with Fry at some point. You'll see it. Or it could be the other way around. If they come in with a lefty, you could see Pearson come in because he likes him lefty for some reason. Like he's proven he can hit it, a way to get him into the game. But I do think that for some reason they've matched up Fry with righties. I don't know if it's a comfortability thing, but that's the only reason I think he will play, and because of what he's done in the past.
Yeah, no, coming off that game on Tuesday.
I mean, every game he's played in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's playing really good baseball right now. As he's started, obviously last year he had the injury he was dealing with, pushed through, but now he's fully healthy, and you can see it.
He's played in 25 games and batting .404.
Yeah,
with 6 homers.
That'll do it. I'll tell you what, that'll get you on the baseball field, or it should. And
he's third in the team in homers.
Behind
tied for third with Milam.
Bear and Dickinson. Tied with Milam. Yeah, I mean, and those are that's 3 guys that are in the lineup every night.
Right.
You know?
So if you can add another, I mean, Stephen Milam's batting .350, Jake Brown batting .354, Daniel Dickinson batting .367, Jared Jones batting .402, Derek Curiel, the freshman, batting .406, Ethan Fry right there at .404, Tanner Reeves batting .370. Like, they're smashing the baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no breaks in the lineup.
It's laughable hearing you read that off.
Stanfield at .308.
Like, that's unbelievable, man. The way they're able to hit the ball. And talking about Derek Curiel, he is named he was the perfect game midseason freshman of the year. I think it was. Yes, midseason freshman of the year by Perfect Game. He was ranked as the number 1 top 75 freshman for the 2025 season, and he has surpassed all those expectations. And I mean, it couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, he is beyond surpassed expectations in the 9 conference games. He's batting .371. He's got a double, triple, 2 home runs, 7 RBI, and a team-leading 11 runs scored. Can't really talk enough about the job Derek Curiel has done and the kind of the question marks he's answered. Like, his surge onto the scene kind of made everything fall in line for us.
Oh, man. It's been the secret sauce. Because all throughout, whether it be early or even like in fall ball, it was Stanfield at the top of the order.
Right.
And now being able to put him in the 9-hole and Curiel lead off, he's got on base literally every game this year. It just sets the whole thing up. It sets you up to put Jared Jones right behind him because Curiel is always on base. Now you're an immediate threat to score, especially at the onset of the game. And you could see in the first inning, Curiel either draws a walk, gets on base, and then Bear Jones comes up and he could draw a walk. I mean, that's literally how it happened against Mississippi State.
Literally.
2 walks, Danny Dickinson comes up and he hits a 3-run bomb. Like, that's what this LSU offense can do to you. It's the constant pressure, and it all starts with Curiel at the top. It really does, because his ability to not only take pitches, see pitches, foul pitches off, it always puts them in compromise when you're on the mound if you have somebody like that you can't go. And that's like That's why it's better to have him at the top than Stanfield. You've seen Stanfield have some swing and miss.
Right.
You've seen him go 3 straight pitches, see ya, and then that's not what you want at the top of the order, because now you're in the hole. You already have 1 out. Barrett Jones comes up. He has the ability to strike out, even though he's looked so much better at it. But that's the total difference of what the pressure and where it's put. Because the longer you move through the lineup, then you have to see Steven Milam 2 batters later, and then now you have Tanner Reeves, and now you have Luis Hernandez hitting swinging a hot stick, and then it gets to Stanfield, and you could have 2 on, you could have nobody on, but he puts so much pressure on you to be able to turn the lineup over, and he's consistently done it. And then you're back up at the top of the career. Like, this shit doesn't stop.
Ever.
It's a nightmare merry-go-round.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it is an absolute nightmare merry-go-round.
Get me off of it.
Well,
I like to stay on it, personally.
Of course.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, pass. I would hop right off. But, yeah, my favorite thing about Curiel is, like, he's setting Bear Jones up for so much success.
Mm-hmm.
Where Bear gets to sit in the on-deck circle and watch 6, 7, 8 pitch at-bats where pitchers are throwing all, their full array of pitches, whether it's a fastball, off-speed, breaking, the whole deal. Bear just gets to sit and watch it, and usually, more often than not, it seems like Curiel's getting on base, and that gives you a base runner with the best hitter in college baseball stepping up to bat. So, big one tonight, LSU versus Okla at 6 p.m. In Norman. Hopefully the weather subsides and we're able to enjoy a good baseball game, and LSU's able to go out there and take care of business against the Sooners.
You know who is taking care of business?
Who?
Be one Matt McMahon.
He is. Yes, LSU, like we said, added another in the portal yesterday. They now have the number 1 transfer portal class, I think, in the 247 rankings. As I think LSU actually posted that out on Twitter yesterday, that they are the number 1 rated class currently. Obviously, they added Mike Nwoko earlier in the week, turned that around with DJ Thomas Jr. out of UNLV, and then yesterday they added Rashad King. And to me, the biggest thing with Rashad King is, one, his size. He's 6'6", a 6'6" shooting guard. He's built up a little, like he's not a small guy in any manner. He's 6'6", 204. He's not playing at the highest level of basketball, obviously, in the CAA for Northeastern. There's the rankings there. LSU with 3 commits, sitting atop 3 4-star commits. Click on the commits. I want to see what they have them ranked at individually, if there's a way for us to see that. But yeah, I mean, you see 3 4-star commits in DJ Thomas, Rashad King, and Michael Nwoko from Mississippi State. You're able to get 1 SEC Power 4 commitment. Then you go out, you get UNLV, who is still a good basketball school. You're able to get him committed, and then Rashad King from a smaller school. But he's 6'6", 204. I went and watched some of his film yesterday, and he's got the ability to get to the rim. That's probably his biggest asset. He shot okay from the 3. He's not a shooter, and in my opinion, that's the number 1 thing on the list from here on out when LSU's going to recruit. You have to get guys that can come in and shoot the ball from the 3-point, from or behind the 3-point arc. And King doesn't exactly do that, but he is, like I said, he's 6'6", 204, which will play. He was able to rebound the ball well at Northeastern, as they were a smaller team. He chipped in 6.1 rebounds per game last year. And I think he shot 34% from 3. So okay. But he had a significant number of attempts. But my thing is, he'll be able to get to the rim, and they're able to this is the way Matt McMahon wants to play. And he hasn't really had the roster to do so, is that he wants to run. He wants to defend. He wants to run. King is a guy with immense defensive potential and has the ability to get to the rack and score. He's an athlete. He wants to score at the rim. Right hand, left hand, doesn't matter. Obviously, the level of competition is going to increase. But that's what Matt McMahon wants his team to look like. He wants to cause chaos on the defensive end and then go and score in transition and finish at the basket. and you've kind of noticed that in the signings so far. But look, I mean, that's 6'6", 204. He's a bully. And now he's going to get on LSU's campus where he can get stronger. He can maybe add a couple more pounds if they need. This is his opportunity at the next level. This is a guy that's been at Northeastern for 3 years, has played well, was the conference player of the year last year, and he's getting his shot in the Power Four, and that's going to be at LSU. This is another good addition for LSU. I still believe they need to go get more contributors, especially when it comes to shooting. But I was talking to my dad about it yesterday because he was asking me about these portal commits, and I was saying if you were to look at LSU's season last year and the reason they won a lot of games, what would you slate as the reasons they lost those games? And my dad said that turnovers were number one, and I think most everyone would agree that the turnover numbers were the big reason why you lost a lot of it. Like starting SEC play, they were averaging around 16, 17 turnovers a game, and the biggest thing was people were saying they had no true point guard. Well, so McMahon heard that, noticed that, went out there and solved that is attempting to solve that problem by going to get his point guard in DJ Thomas Jr. Out of UNLV. Next on the list was defensive rebounding. LSU got out-rebounded plenty of times this season, and I think they might have been averaging getting out-rebounded, especially in league play, with their only bigs being Damian Collins, Robert Miller III, and Derek Fountain. Corey Chest kind of fell out of the lineup. Trades Green goes over to football. So you only had those three bigs, and none of them are very imposing from a physical standpoint. LSU went to go check that box in the portal by going to get a 6'10", 245-pound power four big man in Michael Nwoko, who played at Miami, played at Mississippi State, started 32 games last year. Never really played much more than 20 minutes a game. I think he averaged 15.4 minutes a game. And in those 15 minutes, he averaged 6 rebounds a game. So, I mean, if you look at per 40 stats or you go to the in-depth stuff, I mean, those numbers are pretty solid. And so they go to try to check that box. So the two of the biggest things that were LSU's issues last season, Matt McMahon's going out in the portal to solve that problem. He hasn't really had his point guard yet at LSU. That's who DJ Thomas is slated to try and be. They needed front court help to defensive rebound. You get Jalen Reed back and you add a 6'10", 245 Mike Nwoko. That's a pretty imposing front line to try and defensive rebound. And then they weren't the best team defensively. And adding a guy like Rashad King, who is as versatile as he is, as athletic as he is, but also 6'6", 204, who can, probably being at LSU, can maybe get up to 210 if they want him there. Show some versatility defensively, where he can guard a 2, guard a 3, guard a 4, and be physical, can be fast, create havoc, cause turnovers, and then they have an ability to score at the rim. That's what DJ Thomas and Rashad King bring with them. As much as Thomas is going to be here to be a point guard and facilitate, they both like getting to the basket and trying to score at the rim. And obviously, it's going to be more difficult to do that in the SEC. And I think that you are going to see the adjustment over time, but I think these are very skilled basketball players that they're bringing in for LSU. And like Spectrum Wellcare says in the chat, let's see how he does against SEC talent. 100%. Spectrum, those 6-minute scoring droughts helped lose games. And that's part of the turnover issue, because in those droughts, a lot of times they were turning the ball over or they were getting stagnant at offense. That's what a guy like DJ Thomas, his goal, the reason he's on this team, is to get offense flowing, to not allow those droughts to happen. And that's the goal of bringing him in. And by goal of bringing him in means I'm not saying him coming in is going to solve that problem, because it's not. You're not just going to plug and play from UNLV at LSU against SEC opponents and be able to solve every issue that team had. But it's the steps in the right direction of making that happen. Ivo in the chat, rebounding is not per se a big man thing. It's more a team thing. Yeah, somewhat. But, I mean, when you look at numbers, majority of the rebounds are going to the big guys. Like, yes, you need everybody to block out. It's an effort stat. Rebounding, doesn't have anything per se to do with size. But when you've got somebody that's 6'10", 240, and 6'9", 240 in the lane, it makes it easier to get those rebounds if some of the other guys aren't doing their job. And so
you had a team that was rolling out an all guard lineup.
Four guards.
They're not going to rebound very well.
Yeah, I mean, and now you have Michael Nwoko, who is 6'10", 245, and then you have Jalen Reed coming back, who's also 6'10", around 240 as well. I mean, that is going to, as much as it is a team stat, it is a hustle type thing, it's going to help to have two 6'10", 240 guys in the lane to try to corral those rebounds. I vote turnovers on offense, no rebounding on defense equals bad fundamental basketball. Yes, that was the problem last year. And that was my biggest pushback against, push on Matt McMahon was a lot of these things that are problems should be solved by the coach, and they weren't. And so he's got one more season to go get the guys, have the horses, and prove that he can coach to make those things happen. Kimberly in the chat, I feel like I'm more concerned about the second group of guys. Do we have formidable guys behind them? A key injury can derail your season. When you look at the roster right now, you have these three freshmen that you're bringing in who are very talented in Jalen Reese, Mozzie Mosley, and Matt Gilhool. You'll have those three guys in. I don't know what the plan is, whether it's redshirt or the way that's going to work with them. We'll kind of find that out as time gets here. But you have those three guys. You have a Robert Miller, the third back, who was coming along greatly and coming along strong as the season went on. And you saw the growth there. And right now he's still in the roster. Time will still tell if he ends up with LSU. But he'll still be on the roster, extremely talented. Damian Collins come back, who's a freak athlete, and you saw growth this season for him. Curtis Givens is another guy that'll be back, and you're hoping that the SEC experience he gained and the development over the next season, you're hoping to have a really formidable second lineup. And then now you need to go out in the transfer portal and get 3 or 4 more guys that can come in and score, whether like they come off the bench, whether they start, whatever. You need shooters, you need scores. That's what you have to go do. Jason Gibson, defensive rebounding and better shooting fixes most of the holes in this team last season. I agree. If you're able to rebound, take care of the basketball, and shoot better than you did last season, you're a tournament team. And that's what Matt McMahon has to be next year. And he's making steps in the right direction to get there. But it's still going to take a lot of work. This staff is still going to have to develop these guys both physically in the weight room and on a diet, because you want Damian Collins to get thicker. You want Robert Miller to be a little bit stronger. You want Curtis Givens to have that faster, quick twitch to be able to get to the basket, and you need to knock down shots. So they're still going to go out in the portal and do some more work, but so far, through 3 commitments and 3 signings, they're steps in the right direction for Matt McMahon and LSU, but the pressure is still very much on. So we shall see how it works out. But I do like that question, Kimberly, of having the second group of guys be formidable. I think that's a very important key, and that's why in this portal class, they still need to go out there and get a handful more guys that can come in and contribute, whether that's off the bench or starting. And I'm excited to see what these freshmen look like in Jalen Reese, who's a 4-star out of Orlando. You've got Matt Gilhool, who's a 4-star power forward, 6'10", 205. Jalen Reese is a point guard at 6 foot 170. And then Mozzie Mosley, who's a shooting guard out of Prolific Prep, who I think plays today in the National High School Tournament. I think that might be televised as well, who's also a 4-star. He's 6'5", 165, so he needs to put a little bit of weight on. But a extremely talented group of freshmen coming in. Mozzie chose LSU over USC, Michigan, 2 very good Big Ten basketball programs. Jalen Reese had offers from schools like Cincinnati, Providence, Penn State, Dayton, basketball schools as well. And then Matt Gilhool chooses LSU over Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt. So these are guys that can come in and produce, but you still want to go out there in the portal and get a couple more guys. And in my opinion, they have to be 36, 37, 40, 41, 42% three-point shooters, and preferably have done that against a higher level of competition. But you want guys that can go out there and shoot the basketball in a way that's going to come in and produce for LSU. Fat Boy Slim, he's a good coach, just not in the SEC. I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you because he hasn't proven it yet. Carl Dunn, the SEC is going to be a beast again next season. will have to get players that can compete in the conference. And to me, that's what these next 3 or 4 guys he gets, however many he continues to bring in the portal, that's what they have to do. And you have to hope the experience of last year got Collins, Miller, Givens, those 3 guys, allow them to move forward and develop and be ready for another grueling season of the gauntlet that is SEC basketball.
Does what McMahon's done in the portal so far in LSU basketball inspire any confidence in anyone? Like, do you still think there's a sense of, I'd have to see it? Because I think, and this is me personally also, if there's no transfer portal rankings and you don't see LSU 1, I think everybody looks around at who LSU has added, and they're like, don't care.
Yeah. I think that's still the mindset of a lot of the fan base of these guys are from UNLV, Mississippi State 15 minutes ago. Like, the fan base is very much glass half empty right now with Matt McMahon. And I'm not saying that it's incorrect in being so, because it's when I'm not sitting here talking to this microphone, it's very easy for me to fall into that same kind of mindset of going to get a guy from Mississippi State that only played 15 minutes a game, or Northeast that's in the CAA, or UNLV in the Mountain West. Like, how is this going to trend? Like, when you look back at the transfers that have worked out for LSU, to me, my thought process is always Jordan Wright. Like, he has been the ultimate success of a transfer at LSU. And Cam Carter even as well. Why did those transfers work? Well, Jordan Wright played 4 years at Vanderbilt before transferring to LSU. Cam Carter's a guy that played a lot of minutes at Kansas State before transferring to LSU. They had the experience in this big-time basketball. So I do think it's still very much a wait and see. Go get who you get out of the portal. Yeah, Rashad King averaged 19 points a game, and Nwoko is 6'10", 240, and DJ Thomas is a guy that was the number 8 rated player in the portal. But a lot of people's mind kind of goes back to Jordan Sears, a guy who was expected to come in and set the world on fire, as he was at UT Martin and averaged over 22 points a game, I believe, and came into LSU and only averaged 12. Like, that's still the thing that's going to sit in somebody's mind more recently. Jalen Cook, a guy that averaged 20, 21 at Tulane, came into LSU, only averaged about 15 points a game. Jai Bailey from Richmond, a guy who shot a very good percentage from 3 and didn't do that. Like, they're looking at the numbers and those things. And so I think it's the mindset right now of the fan base to sit back, wait and see how it goes. And I don't think that it's wrong in thinking that way of, yes, Matt McMahon has put together a solid class. These are guys that, if you turn on the film, can play the sport, have good instincts, have a good ability to do so. Can they come in the SEC and do that? Only time will tell. Like, there's no way of knowing. Like, to me, the instincts Rashad King shows of defensively being versatile and his ability to get to the rim, those things to me will translate. Will I be right or wrong? We'll find out when he plays an SEC basketball schedule. But in my opinion, watching the film yesterday, those are things that are going to translate. And then when you look at a guy like DJ Thomas, I think his game's going to translate well. Like, he's going to be a guy that keeps the offense flowing. Even if he doesn't score 17 points a game, he had an assist-to-turnover ratio of, I think, 5-1 or 5-2, which is a 2.5 assist-to-turnover ratio that blows everyone on LSU's team out of the water. So will they be able to compete in the SEC? We'll find out when they play the schedule. But I think that the fan base has the mindset of wait and see. We'll find out when we find out. And I don't think they're wrong in doing that, because it's hard to get excited about group of 5 or mid-major transfers coming into Power 4 schools when they haven't proven it yet. So, Darren Tross in the chat, Rashad King 6'6", Curtis Givens 6'3", Jalen Reese 6 foot, Mozzie Mosley 6'5". Then you've got Mike Nwoko 6'10", Jalen Reed 6'10", Damian Collins 6'9", Robert Miller 6'10", Matt Gilhole 6'10". I mean, that's a lot of size in that forward group. So they got to go out there and they have to be physical, improve the rebounding. A 2.5 assist to turnover ratio is still not good. It is that is a good assist to turnover ratio. In college basketball, in the NBA, it's not. Because in the NBA, they're playing more possessions. It's a shorter shot clock, and they're able to get more. And the level of competition is better, but it's also almost easier to score in the NBA because you're getting more possessions. So in the NBA, yeah, you want to have 8 assists to 2 turnovers, which is a 4 assist to turnover ratio. In college basketball, if you're getting 6 assists to 2 turnovers, that is a good number. Spectrum WellCare, it would help if Coach Matt McMahon had more energy for the fan base. I agree. But I think at that, if we're asking for that right now, 3 years in, he just kind of is who he is. And you can't ask him to be something he's not. And I think it was kind of unfair for all of us because I did the same thing. We compare him to Will Wade. Will Wade is an undeniable big personality guy, and that's not who Matt McMahon is. And so to ask him to go and be somebody he's not is a tad bit unfair to the man. But it would be nice if there was a little more energy, a little more juice. The way that to me, the comparisons to the women's staff, like they are always on social media, always on different, whether not even just our show, but they're all over the media sphere. Like they're pushing, they're beating the streets, they're out and about, they're taking pictures. And
they make the brand more exciting.
It's not the same thing on the men's side.
No,
right.
It's not. But to table the man conversation real quick, whatever you look at, I'm just going through the transfer portal from the last couple of years and how Auburn rebuilt it.
Right.
And if you're worried about mid-major schools or anything like that, smaller schools, Johnny Broom, any good?
Morehead State.
Morehead State. Another starter, Denver Jones, any good? FIU.
Yep.
JP West, Furman. Like, this is how they built it. This is how you do it. It's hard to go get Power 5 guys to Power 5 schools.
Right.
Because they're going to be able to, in NIL, if they give a lick about basketball, you're going to be able to get a similar deal because you've seen, while the number was reported at 8 for Auburn and what they did in the transfer portal, and those are all for like mid-major guys, smaller school guys, that number has gone up again.
Yes.
Like, LSU's not the only one saying, hey, let's put more resources into college basketball because we didn't put any in. Now you have schools that are winning.
Everybody's looking at the Auburn model.
Right.
Of $8 million into my roster. And now Auburn's looking at it and say, okay, everybody else is catching up. We got to go $10 million. We got to go $12 million.
We're the Final Four.
Right.
This works.
Yeah.
And you have, and obviously Bruce Pearl is Bruce Pearl. Like, he's been able to build consistent winners, whether he did it illegally, now legal, or just by the way he coaches. Obviously,
right.
Big energy guy as well. But that I don't think you're going to see a lot of guys come from big-time Power 4 schools or any Power 4 school that has any salt in basketball and you go, oh, I'm going to go to LSU.
Right.
Like, this is the way you have to build it, and it may not be one big star. That's what you have to do to get recruiting. You get your top 100 guys in recruiting and hope you hold on. But for the way that you're trying to build it right now through the portal, LSU is the number one ranked portal class. Like I saw it in the chat, like for now, like Auburn already added a 25 guy that LSU wanted to add, Keyshawn Hall, but Auburn he's already committed. Like LSU was on a Zoom call with him, recruited him, tried to get him to LSU. Auburn gets him. Like, you're going to lose
right.
these battles, but at least you're in the battle. It's not like LSU football that's constantly losing but always in. It's like you're a new kid at the table again.
Right. And for me, like when you look at Janai Broom, I'll use him as the example. He comes from Morehead State to Auburn. He transferred in 2022. Mm-hmm. Right. So he was at Morehead State. He averaged 17 a game there and 7 rebounds or 10.5 rebounds. So 17 points, 11 rebounds. He transferred to Auburn, and those changed to 14 and 8. Right, so a drop-off, a considerable drop-off, and really every stat across the board he dropped off looking at his stats right now. But he got the SEC experience, and 2 years later he's back to he's better than he was stat-wise at Morehead State. You look at a guy like Walter Clayton Jr. at Florida, who transferred in from Iona. This is his how many years? This is his second season at Florida? Yeah, second season at Florida. He came into Florida, and he's kind of the anomaly where he comes in and his stats stay pretty similarly. But SEC experience, so bringing in a guy like DJ Thomas, find a way to get him to stay an extra year, make him stay again. Sabron asked, what do you think the budget is for LSU basketball? I would say $5-6 million. That's probably where it's at. Fatboy Slim, let's talk after they start SEC play first, 8 games. I don't know. I mean, that's when the conversation will come back up. But, I mean, we got to talk about something right now.
Yeah.
Football's in spring break. We don't have it. Got to talk about something. They're doing well in the transfer portal from a rating standpoint.
And I'm sure people would almost like it more if there was no success, if LSU was swinging and missing in the portal and you had the news of these guys coming to campus, you're having visits, and they're not picking, then people would love to have this conversation because the fact that it's going well, then you move the goalpost.
To show me. Right.
Yeah,
the goalpost is now show me. And rightfully so on the show me standpoint. Like I just spent 10 minutes, about 10 minutes ago talking about the fact that I think the fan base is right of that, having that mindset. But that doesn't mean we ignore that it's happening. Just because it needs to be proven later in time that it was good doesn't mean you will ignore that it's happening.
Yeah, he made a promise. Promise is being kept.
Yeah, I mean, think about I'm going to use Joe Burrow as an example of they go out, they get a guy from Ohio that's never started a game in college, played at Ohio State, got beat out for the job like 3 years in a row. I mean, we're gonna talk about that when it happens, but I'm sure the mindset was probably prove it, and then he went and did that. And I'm not comparing these people to Joe Burrow.
No, it's just the circumstance.
It's the mindset of we can still appreciate that work is being put in and a job is being done to bring in guys from the portal.
I mean, LSU had 3 quarterbacks on campus. It was McMillan, the big lefty that kept
Lowell
Narcisse. And there was one other cat on campus.
Miles Brennan was on campus.
Yeah, Brennan. And then when they brought Burrow in and you saw Burrow left, why'd you do that? You had guys. You had 3 guys, now you have 2.
McMillan was supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, and there were I'm sure they wouldn't admit it now. There were people that were considerably in the McMillan camp. And you saw him go to, Tulane, and he was fine?
People on the roster said McMillan's our guy.
Yeah, that's why you don't listen to the team all that much. Whenever they wanted to make Edo the head coach, they wanted to keep Edo. Those are when you get into the pitfalls of. I'm sure you did have a good relationship with him. He was a good coach at one point, but he has to win you over, or else you won't want to be in the locker room.
Right.
And so, but you go from that conversation to, I don't think there was a lot of expectation for Joe Burrow. It was, oh, that's nice. I don't think people cared.
Right. And Glimmer,
other than the fact that you didn't want to see him play, you're like, he's going to come in and do what?
Yeah. Glimmer in the chat. I agree because it's not like we're going to fault them for continuing to promote their program, but people want to see them prove it. Yeah. But to me,
can't prove it yet.
But to me, it's impossible for them to prove it until we get into
what they can prove is what they're doing right now.
Right. And my biggest pet peeve, and this isn't with you, Glimmer, really anybody in this chat per se, I've seen it more on Twitter than anything else, is the knock against the transfer portal moves because prove it. Those don't go hand in hand. It's saying, oh, that's I'm not impressed by your transfer portal additions because I haven't seen them play an SEC schedule. Very rarely are you going to be able to get somebody out of the portal that's played an SEC schedule. The reason you got Jordan Wright, somebody who played an SEC schedule, to come to LSU from Vanderbilt was because Vanderbilt was they needed to make a head coach change, and Jordan Wright played at Dunham. He's from Baton Rouge. So I agree. I think you're 100% correct, Glimmer, that don't fault LSU for promoting their program or for building it up and having the mindset of wanting to see them prove it. You can do both things at the same time. I don't like the fan base that's knocking McMahon and the portal moves because they can't prove it yet.
Or they don't know who they are.
We'll see when we'll see when we get there.
And it's very much the LSU fan base has the football mindset of college football is so highly covered, so obsessed over here that you know who the portal players are. And you're like, oh, you need to go get him. You need to go get him. And it's because people have a idea of who they are. This is totally different. I don't think a lot of people are watching UNLV basketball down here.
And the brand that LSU football is, LSU men's basketball will never be that brand, ever. They can be very good. They can be much better than they are right now. They will never be that. Guys from Kentucky and Duke will never leave their schools to come play at LSU. A guy from Ohio State or Alabama or Oregon will maybe leave their school, or Texas will leave their school to play football at LSU. It's never going to be the same for men's basketball. So the mindset of, well, why don't we go get a guy from Kentucky or Florida or Auburn? You're not going to. What do you have to show that Auburn and Tennessee and Florida don't? Nothing. They have more money than you. They have better facilities than you. They have better, really everything, basketball culture, better arena, all of it. So you got to go get a guy like DJ Thomas, who's at UNLV, but being recruited by Florida and Kentucky. And you're able to beat them out because I'm sure you probably paid a little bit more than they would have. That's the world you have to live in if you're LSU men's basketball. And I think the fan base, as much as we love I love the dedication and the desire for a winner in men's basketball, because that's what I want. I love men's basketball. And the way Will Wade had it was he was able to recruit high school at such a high level, and the sport was so much different then than it is now. That's obviously still in the back of everyone's head because it's still in the back of mine. But Matt McMahon's doing it the way it has to be done right now in the current landscape. And is he a good coach? I think he is. Is he an SEC caliber coach? I think this season's the season we truly find out if he is or if he isn't. He can prove everybody wrong or he can prove everybody right. But we'll find out whenever they lace it up and they take on their 2025-2026 schedule. So we've made it to hour number 2. We're going to take a quick break and get right back with more here this morning as we're going to go close out after a quick word from our sponsors. Well, kind of sponsors.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Well, the Oscar Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, helping you with your home, auto, commercial, life, and health insurance needs. Around in Baton Rouge at 4275 Government Street and online at FourierAgency.com. Whatever insurance you're in the market for, home, auto, commercial, contractors, life, and health, get in touch with Fourier Insurance Agency, FourierAgency.com, or give them a call at 225-383-0682. Fourier Agency.
Get Gordon. And get it done, yeah. Everybody know Gordon in a 225. And he done link with Big Four. He got buku ties, Ferrari sliding, flying in a new coupe ride. And every time I ride by, I see a brand new sign. I'm a Gordon, I know that he gon' get it done. Whether it's a big truck crash or a hit and run, recovery funds, he fighting to get a ton. Mike Epps, man, we all about the Benjamin. Handling injuries, man, are you kidding me? Gordon McKernan, that's champion energy. Yeah, family man with a family plan. Get Gordon, he gon' fix it like a handyman. Get Gordon, and get it done.
Welcome to Trifecta.
Trifecta Sports Therapy in Baton Rouge. Recover, repair, restore. At Trifecta, they believe in total body wellness. Trifecta gets the body back to its full potential. Whether you're a youth or pro athlete, a pre or postnatal mom, or if you lead an active lifestyle or a senior citizen, Trifecta has the class, the sports massage, the sports therapist, the stretch therapist, or the equipment like infrared sauna, cold plunges, and golf simulators to find your best. Find Trifecta online at trifectasportstherapy.com or check out the beautiful facility today, 8221 Goodwood. Trifecta Sports Therapy.
Hey, Tiger fans, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit us, Tom and Wright Granning, at Go Mart on the Go Deli.
Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip.
Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on your left.
Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff,
where everyone is family.
Got chores that need some extra muscle, but a large piece of equipment is overkill? That's what John Deere compact utility tractors were made for. Powerful enough for the work you need to do. Compact enough for how you need to do it. Find the equipment that's right for you at Sunshine Quality Solutions. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
They say that life's a marathon, man, shout out to Nip. They start to think you falling off and they starting to flip. Circumstances start to change and they jumping the ship. Only ones that really matter who's tied to your hip. They tried to push you to the side cause they thought you would quit. May bend but never break, your cloth is legit. When you return in rare form, they all gonna be sick. You ever seen a living legend, just know that I'm it. Slow grind like IT, just know that I'm it. Now I'm back up in my bag, I'm giving them fits. Bounce the bat like John Morant, you know that I'm lit. Making plays like Jack Bash, I'm never gonna sit. Had to be patient, so I waited for the situation. Now that I'm focused, I'ma take it with no hesitation. The hard times that I hated gave me inspiration. Look in the eyes from my kids gave me motivation. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up. Bounce back, can't let you fold up. Keep pushing, can't let you slow up.
All right, we are back here on this Thursday edition as we are rolling here in the month of April. We saw a little tweet while we were in the break from Vintage LSU Football. Shout out.
Great account.
Excellent account. They posted about 2 hours ago, and it says, LSU didn't have any 300-yard passing games from 2008 to 2012 over a 5-season stretch. And I threw up in my mouth a little bit after reading that, and then me and Lloyd went down memory lane and started listing off the quarterbacks that played in that era. So it was essentially the era between Flynn and Mettenberger. So after Flynn left and before Mettenberger got to LSU, there were 0 300-yard passing games for LSU.
I wonder if anybody got even close. Maybe Jarrett Lee, whenever he started a full game.
Let's see, LSU football, 2008 to 2009 stats.
I've got the rushing stats up here. Andrew Hatch was up in that bitch.
Oh yeah, that would be the quarterback in 08, right? It would be Hatch into
Jarrett
Lee and Jefferson. So we have, let's see if Jarrett Lee had any big time passing games in 2008, 2009. Do they let me look at it per game?
Whoa.
What happened?
Play 2 songs at once.
Oh, nice. That's not really letting me look at per game stuff. But yeah, I wonder if anybody got close. Because that's an unbelievable stat to read off and think about.
In 2008, Jarrett Lee... Oh, it doesn't give you individuals.
Yeah, it didn't do per game. Andrew Machina, Les Miles football for you. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what we were talking about, is that the fact that it...
He threw for 1,800 yards.
Yep.
So he'd have to have 6 300-yard games, which he did not. He had 0.
How many games did he start? How many games did he play?
Jarrett Lee, 11. Jordan Jefferson played 7. Hatch was in 6. Keelan Williams, 1 for 2, 22 yards and a touchdown. Great play call, a little sweep.
Yeah. Glimmer, yep, I was a huge Brandon Harris believer. He slung it at Parkway, then less happened to him. Yeah, no, I mean,
that's one of the real tragedies that's ever 100%. Happened.
That doesn't really get talked about enough. Because, because it was him, Leonard, and Jamal all came in that same class, correct? What? You pulled up the per game?
38-52, LSU loses to Georgia. 14 for 28 for 287.
Jarrett Lee?
Got close.
Man, he was right. What's that, 13 yards away?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, though. That's the Jarrett Lee experience in a nutshell.
Yes.
Also got molested.
Lestified.
But yeah, I was a huge believer in. I thought Brandon Harris was going to solve all of LSU's problems.
Me too.
That was a big era for huddle, and it kind of just came out, so you could watch a lot of their games, whether it be, I think it was huddle, but the recruiting services finally had video, and you'd watch Brandon Harris sling the pill at Parkway.
Parkway.
And it was oh, absolutely, this plays. This is a football play. This is a quarterback.
This is a quarterback, fellas.
And then he puts him in against Auburn.
Shell shock.
Gets his first career start, and that was all downhill from there. Because he came in the week before against Mississippi State and almost leads a comeback. You're like, oh, he's slinging the pill all over the place.
Right.
And then it never really matriculated. But he could throw it, but he's got his brain broken.
Yeah, no, he did. But yeah, no, I mean it was quite the period of time, man. Harris INT versus Wisconsin at Lambeau, or Max Johnson backward pass versus UCLA embrace debate.
Am I the only one that thought Max Johnson had a real plan there?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't that. I mean, considering the situation, we got to get rid of it, and there's somebody down there somewhere.
Yeah,
so
but
let me go behind the back. If it works, everybody loves it.
No, I mean it.
It didn't, but it wasn't a pick either.
It wasn't. No, I mean it. I guess it worked to plant here. This is gonna piss me off.
Let that thing eat. I mean, that's a football thrower.
Yeah, that's a toss there, man.
That's what he felt. Look, I mean, he could sling
step
it
into it and in the bucket, touchdown.
Yeah, this is what I would do all day, and be like, "No, he's good. I'm telling y'all." And then it just
should have been.
He could absolutely sling it.
I mean, he's doing just fine now as his.
Oh yeah, his job at
his
Texas
nice
is
job
great.
at Texas, and
I would do the same thing if I were him. I'd want to stick it to LSU as many times as I could because you ruined my life and made me have a different life.
Yeah, the life I shouldn't have.
Get
had.
up!
Oh my!
Recruit him. Where are you at?
Who's that guy? He just hurdled and juked a guy in one move.
But he was throwing absolute seeds. Could create a little bit on the run, put it on him. Oh, that gets picked at LSU.
That was a little sketchy.
Get it to 20.
Yeah, where's 20 at?
A little shovel.
Okay.
Creator.
I got to figure out who 20 is.
2013 Parkway.
2013 Parkway football roster. We got to figure out where 20 ended up. Because that was a move there, man.
I mean,
he hurdled that guy.
It's hard to hurdle, then backstep,
then juke.
And then almost score.
Yeah. The only two guys on the on-3 recruiting are Brandon Harris, who was a 4-star committed to LSU, and then Broderick Jefferson, wide receiver, 5'9", 160.
That could be him.
Louisiana Tech. Let's see if that's who it is. Broderick Jefferson from Parkway. Let's see. It's not showing. It doesn't show me any pictures or anything. It could be him. It could be Big Broderick. These are all wide open and no pressure. I could throw that. I mean, I've never seen you throw a football, my friend, but
he was throwing that thing 55
as much as
yards
they are open, he is launching it.
55 yards in the air. Wide open offense.
They do have three running backs on here from the 2014 roster. William McKnight, Demetrius McAtee, and Stacy McCray. 5'8", 172 feels like number 20, right? Let's see Demetrius McAtee, where he ended up. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Huddle. Oh, I found a huddle from 2014, class of 2015. Let's see if this is my guy. But no, it was number 8. But what have you? Yeah, it was a rough time of George the Greek mingle with Tingle in the mornings. I like that.
Yeah, pitch your new show name.
I think what's our number 1 right now?
Tingle and Co.
Tingle and Co. Tingle and Co.
He being Tingle and me being Co. And whoever else wants to be a part of the show.
Yeah, no, it's got multiple different. We got what was it? The Morning Tingle.
I like that.
George the Greek, the show formerly known as the Jordy Culotta show. Pass. Call done. It would be a 30-minute. That period is done. Stop talking about the old. I'm ready for the new.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean,
I can't get myself that worked up about that period. I mean, I can.
But we're also. I mean, think about it.
It's so far gone.
And it's April 3rd. We're trying to pass time, so we're going to talk about.
Yeah, but I can't rant into the microphone
we're not
like
ranting.
that. I don't want to, because then it lets me know how much less won.
I want a dating segment called Christian Tingle. Well, me and Christian are not going to date, so that's not going to happen, Glimmer. Christian's not taking my last name. Tingle & Co. is boring. Okay. It's all right. Let's see if there were any. Tingle in his court.
Yeah.
Tingle's court.
Oh, with Judge Judy?
Judge Lloyd.
The Honorable.
Yeah, definitely. But to get back onto somewhat of a football topic, there was a clip of Mike Gundy.
Speaking of rants.
That I saw. Tingle in the mullet. There you go. Speaking of mullet.
Really pigeonhole me into this bit if that's the case.
You'd have to have the mullet forever. Speaking of the mullet forever, Mike Gundy is the clip that I saw yesterday of him talking about the NCAA and this ruling on the combined spring games and practices against other schools and things. And I thought it was a really nice comment from him on just kind of the NCAA and the way of the world right now in college sports. So, do you have that?
I have it?
You sure do.
So I'm excited about the next 2 weeks. I feel like after we have a couple weeks of pads, we'll get an idea of kind of where we are, and like Gene Hackman said, see what kind of hand we've been dealt here. We'll know a lot more after 6 practices and pads. The enthusiasm's good, the coach's enthusiasm's good, all that's a plus. Guys are buying in. Academic reports are good, attendance is good. All the things that we need to move in the right direction are happening, but we'll see what happens when we get in pads for 6 practices.
Have you seen the enthusiasm from the coaches and players more than you have in recent years? Because there is so much more new people involved?
And it depends on the personality of the coach. Some coaches are loud and enthusiastic all the time. Some are quiet. The quiet ones may be better coaches, but this is a louder group. And there is enthusiasm. I shared with the staff, I've been fired several times in my life. And in our profession, that doesn't necessarily mean one thing or the other, but when there is a new group, it's something new, It's being in high school, you broke up, you're going out with a new girlfriend. She's cooler than the last one just because she's new.
This out of the way, because I don't think you thought it would come together this year. But the NCAA said no to Dedan and Syracuse on their deal. But the coaches have said, we're going to look at this, and next year, that may be part of this. So your feeling on that?
I think we should. I mentioned it the other day. I just thought of the deal with OU. I think it's a good deal. I would like to do it. I'd like to practice against them. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to waste my time on who's going to determine what the rules are anymore, because essentially there's not really enough of them to follow. And I'm not even sure how they have grounds to say you can't do it. If somebody just goes and does it, what are they going to do to them?
This out of the way, because I don't think you thought it would come together this year. But the NCAA said no to Dedan and Syracuse on their deal. But the coaches have said, we're going to look at this, and next year, that may be part of this. So your feeling on that?
I think we should. I mentioned it the other day. I just thought of the deal with OU. I think it's a good deal. I would like to do it. I'd like to practice against them. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to waste my time on who's going to determine what the rules are anymore, because essentially there's not really enough of them to follow. And I'm not even sure how they have grounds to say you can't do it. If somebody just goes and does it, what are they going to do to them?
I love the quote at the end where it's like, well, if they do it, who's going to stop? What are they going to do about it? Who's going to do anything? And he's not wrong. Like, if LSU was to say, hey, we're going to do a joint practice against Tulane instead of a spring game, who's going to step in and stop that?
Yeah, and I think if it would have just been done instead of been pontificated about and talked about and asked about, people are like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then the NCAA wouldn't have really had the opportunity to step in. It would have had too much momentum to go forward. But the fact that they had tried to do it the right way, quote unquote, is why, no, you can't do that. And he's exactly right. Like, what do you mean? Who said why? Nobody's ever tried to do this before. What makes it impossible? What makes it against the rules? What rule is it? And they just have to step in at some point when they see an opportunity that has a potential for a ruling to be placed and say no.
Because who would not love this? The coaches are for it, obviously. 2 coaches tried to set it up. Gundy's right here, and he's saying the same thing. He would love to do it. He's obviously had conversations with
other coaches
Oklahoma
that would love
about
to do it.
Like, coaches would love to do this. And
especially in a world where there's no more, it's getting farther and farther away from spring games.
Right.
Sure, you don't even have to make it a spring game scenario. Just do the joint practices that nobody knows about. It's talked about. You can have your 20 minutes of media coverage from both sides. But you won't really see anything.
Get a title sponsor for it and
you
get
can do it
Raising
that
Cane's
way.
to sponsor it, and they're
Then
going
you
to
have a
pay
game.
you thousands of dollars to have their logo everywhere and then have the game.
What would the NCAA's reason for saying no be?
Player safety. But to me, if the players and the coaches and the ADs all want to do it, who cares?
But
then your decision on player safety doesn't matter.
So what's the difference between?
And then I guess they would say it's not
hitting
an
yourself
NCAA,
or hitting somebody else,
right? And they would say maybe it's not an NCAA sanctioned event, and for two teams to be present, it has to be.
I mean,
they're not able to make money off of it, I would assume.
What happened when?
But basketball does those preseason exhibitions all the time.
To say that
baseball does preseason exhibitions.
So it's not a
football can do one game. Yeah, look, Andrew Messina. NCAA allows hoops to have closed door scrimmages with other universities. That's when I realized Tari Eason was who he was, because they went and they played in a preseason closed door scrimmage against, I don't remember who it was, and I was beyond impressed with the way he played. Like, to me, if the schools and the coaches and the ADs and the players and everybody wants to do it, the NCAA's only knock is the fact that they can't make money off of it. And so they're going to use some sort of ruling to stop it. But if you do it, what are they going to do? Suspend your program?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Take away
they
your
said
bowl
no,
bid?
and yeah, what are you going to sanction us? Who listens to those anymore?
Nobody.
It's just an interesting dynamic that the NCAA still feels like it exists when it doesn't, because they don't even run the college football playoff. That's the CFB that does that. So I don't know if you could suspend somebody from a college football bowl game. Like you could self-impose a ban if you'd like, but if you actually ever played in one, I don't know what it would do if it was on the CFP level and then the playoff.
Yeah, no, I mean it. I say somebody just needs to take the bull and just do it.
Well, and that's what's interesting, right? Like if you already can do it in basketball, you can already do it in baseball. It's football because that's their. You would think they would stop it in basketball. If anything, that's where they make all their money is in March Madness.
March
but
Madness.
Those guys are so under the radar, and college football is so propped up, and their biggest, I guess, to do that they feel like they have to have a voice in this. But yeah, if somebody had already done it, or somebody may already be doing it, and you would have no clue.
No clue.
And it's like, oh, we can't do this anymore. Does this mean that now that football can't, that basketball can't, or baseball can't?
Yeah, Andrew Messina. I don't think it would be a full-on game. No, not at all.
No, it'd be like a joint practice like the NFL.
Yes, 100. It would be exactly like NFL joint practice, and I don't understand why. If the pros can do it, let the kids have fun.
Well, not only that, I guess the one buck back would be other teams getting to see other players that aren't on their roster. Then you have NIL, and you have all of that to where they could pilfer players like that. But that's what they're worried about with the spring game. And so that's not an NCAA thing. The NCAA is not saying you can't have a spring game because other people are watching in the stands.
Right.
So that's not really anything. But that's where the coaches should be like, I don't want to do that. But this is a case of coaches that do want to do it, and they're not being allowed to because the NCAA says no. Like, there's not really anything to stop it. And I'm sure from a fan base perspective, you see injuries happen all the time. But if it was in one of these joint practices that was the first of its kind in college football and it started to get chippy or players got hurt, that would be something that you'd be like, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, just practice with you've done it for years this way. Why do you all of a sudden, like, people get hurt in spring all the time. It doesn't really matter who you're playing, but it would be, the competition would be ramped up. There would be more fighting. There would be all of those things, but that's part of the game.
Yeah.
And it gives you a chance to get a better look.
Yeah, no, I mean, get you an understanding of who your team is before game one, before August 30th against Clemson. We get to see who LSU is against a live practice with fans in attendance where they get to play ULL. You don't think people would buy tickets to come watch that?
Yeah, I don't know if ULL would sign up for that because that's where you do player.
But I mean, people would fill the stands out. You sell the tickets for $2,
or you do it privately. Either way, like
Right,
I think they
just do
wanted,
it.
if they wanted to do it privately, that's another thing that
I did see Fran Brown, and he said it was a joke, the Syracuse head coach, but he was like, if Bill Belichick or Bill O'Brien came up with this, it might be happening.
That's probably true.
If Bill Belichick would have brought this up to the board, they'd probably been like, yeah, I mean, I don't hate the idea,
Anything
Bill.
you want, Bill? It's like, this is what we did in the NFL. I don't understand why we can't do it here in college. Like, oh, it makes a lot of sense. Like, Bill was going to be an interesting man in this era.
He is. I feel like he's going to
He's going to go back to his old ways.
Oh, my gosh. I wondered, I wish they would do like a behind-the-scenes type documentary on Bill and North Carolina and this new era of just the behind the scenes of how he operates as a college head football coach in this day and age, how it's going to work.
I don't think they check the PSI of the football. I don't think they're – obviously there's a little bit more impetus on filming practices after Connor Stallions got out of the bag. Did you see what he said the other day? That before the in-ear piece with the quarterback, you know, they can radio in now.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh, there's a team that's been doing that for years before that this was allowed. And everybody's like, I don't know who that was. Like, he wouldn't say the one team, and everybody said it was Clemson. But I have no idea how they would know that. Or Connor Stallions is out there just pontificating again. But
right.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody tried it because they're not checking. There's no way to know.
Yeah. They're not like, you know, in baseball when you're having
everybody's on a headset.
Hand them the glove and the hat.
Right. Like, let me look inside your helmet.
Yeah, let me check your helmet for my. They wouldn't be able to even tell.
No.
Refs don't even know what they're looking at on the field anyway.
Right. And like I said, it's not like there'd be a new person with the headset on. Every college coach has a headset.
Right.
It's just a push of a button that goes to the quarterback, and there would be no way to know. And I don't even know if there was rules against it.
Mr. Tross in the chat, not one Big Ten or SEC school has chimed in, including the commissioners of both conferences. The issue is DOA. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would help immensely if a Big Ten or an SEC school chimed in.
Well, that's Sankey has the ability to move mountains.
Oh my gosh, if he wanted to make it happen, it'd be happening.
Yeah, and SEC practice.
Yeah,
like you do one a week.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, no, I mean
SEC versus ACC.
SEC versus Big Ten.
Right, like teams that probably aren't going to play each other until maybe the college football playoff, or even you can combine like LSU, Nebraska.
Right.
And teams that want to do it or would be interested in doing it that probably aren't going to see each other, and it gets everybody in the league kumbaya together. It's like, oh, you get to have a relationship with Matt Rule. See what they're doing, how they do things at practice, like glean different things off different people. It makes the teams better, makes your product better, and you still say no.
Yep, because why? Who wants to have fun? So
yeah, high school does it.
We'll see if it ever ends up happening, because I think there might, like if enough teams get on the right side of it, like an SEC or a Big Ten team, and Greg Sankey supports it, it might happen, and it would be cool, something to come in the future. But so. We're going to get to an athletic connection here, see if we can stay hot.
Real quick, what happened to Texas A&M?
What, basketball?
Uh-huh. They tried
Buzz
to go
Williams
get Chris.
left.
Yeah, they tried to get Chris Beard. He said no.
He said no, got an extension.
Texas A&M, how down low and rotten are you? You know, you want to go get that swords man pass and bring him to your prestigious university? Ugh.
But yeah, how about Buzz Williams? He
up and left.
He does it everywhere. Like it's like he does like 5-year stints.
He
Like
writes
he'll pop
letters.
in 5 years. He'll be like, new spot.
Not one hire from the Woodward era has left. Wow. Because he hired Buzz, which I thought was a good hire. And
It was a good hire.
It is a
It's
good
worked
hire.
out well.
And then, obviously,
Jimbo's
not there. I don't know if he hired Schloss or not. But
no, I think Schloss was whoever came after him because he was already at LSU at that point. Because I feel like Schloss and Jay were kind of in the same – were they not in the same carousel that year?
I don't know. Let's see.
I feel like Schloss's name came up around that time. But yeah, well, it's the Billy Lucci era, really. Did you see that his tweet had got some run lately?
Yeah, that's what
Where
made me think of it.
Yeah, he was like, "This is a good era for Texas A&M sports." The worst part that's like is Texas A&M like, are they not the school when it comes to underachieving? When it comes to resources, they're in the SEC, just all the way around. The epitome of underachieving. They've got nothing to show for it.
The epitome of underachieving with the added bonus of them putting immense expectations on them every year, where they're ranked number 1 in baseball before the year started, like preseason number 1. Now they're unranked. college football whenever they brought in Jimbo and they were the first to kind of get into this transfer portal NIL deal. Failed immensely.
Millions on millions on millions of dollars.
And then basketball, they make a good hire. Buzz, he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Leaves for Maryland.
And
you made a run in the tournament and he left for Maryland.
Like, imagine being an A&M, never could, but they're probably like, Maryland?
They're like, it's okay. We're going to go get Chris Beard. We're going to be all right. We're going to be
And that's the other thing that A&M always does. Let's take a gigantic swing.
Yep.
Nothing.
I mean,
that's how they settle on this coach they have now for football.
Yeah. Elko. Because they couldn't get anybody. And Elko, I think Elko's a good coach, but he's at A&M, so he's never going to be successful.
But that's who they are, and that's what they need to realize.
It's entertainment, man.
Your brand is Elko, who wants to keep playing spring. I mean, he's doing a spring game. He says, until we win something, we're doing spring games. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I don't hate
Somebody
Elko.
has to try to win over here.
Somebody's got to try to do something. All this money Texas A&M has.
That has to be so frustrating. I guess LSU has at least a history and is contending at some point or another where you are going to win. Every 3 years, something happens.
Right. In one of these sports.
But I can see like the LSU fan base gets very frustrated, but that's because you've had expectations, because you've won.
Expectations because of experience.
Because of
winning.
past experiences of winning. The best thing that ever happened to A&M was Johnny Manziel.
They made the national championship in baseball last year.
Did they? Yeah, they did.
That's who Tennessee beat.
Right. And
they had a Heisman winning quarterback that beat Alabama.
And he didn't win anything.
Other than the Alabama game.
Right. Like they
had
a
Cotton Bowl, I think, huh?
Yeah, they played in a Cotton Bowl.
That's it.
And
they got snubbed out of the college football playoff in
2020. The COVID. They're undefeated.
Whatever.
But yeah, that's just got to be. Just wake up every day and thank God I'm not an A&M fan.
Yes. No. I mean it.
I
couldn't imagine.
It's probably got something to do with the culture.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's got to be
we need to get Caskey to talk about it. Those freaking what's it called? The midnight yell, midnight call, midnight yell, whatever.
Yell practice.
Ugh.
They almost burned down the school.
They did. I never knew about that.
Oh, learned about it in school. Actually,
until College Game Day did a
feature on it.
A feature on it, and I was like,
the bonfire. They used to do it all the time.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing. Until that feature from
that was part of the
Game
midnight
Day.
Yell thing, like that they would do kumbaya,
massive bonfire,
and
then they killed everybody.
Yeah, people died. That's part of the cult.
You have to get burned in. That's crazy. Yeah, I remember I was house sitting for Katie, and I was watching Game Day that morning on her TV, and I was like, I've never heard this story ever, so I can visibly remember watching that. The freaking midnight fire massacre.
Yeah, now they celebrate it like it's I guess it is a tragedy. 12 people.
Yeah,
died.
I mean it is.
But maybe
it's your fault it happened.
I was about to say maybe you should maybe stop pointing the finger at tragedy and start pointing the finger at yourself.
At Tragedy A&M.
This thing got way too big.
I mean, it was like massive.
Oh yeah, I don't even know if this picture is real, but it feels real.
Completely out of hand. I agree, Andrew in the chat. Buzz will do well at Maryland. Get players be fine in the Big Ten. Yeah, I get why you would leave A&M. Oh my word!
If this is even, it also looks.
We're trying to figure out why something bad happened.
Yeah, it also looks like this is a rally for a different.
Yeah, this does not look like a college football pregame.
You might have deserved it.
Yeah, this is kind of. This is
very cultish.
Watching,
and you're burning your.
Hold up! I'm messing with my eye holes.
Oh, hell.
Next time, full regalia.
We all thought the regalia was a good idea.
Nobody's mad at your wife.
Ungrateful sons of bitches.
Don't ask me and mine for nothing.
Fine, I'm leaving. No, nobody has any extra hats.
Nobody brought an extra bag. But, yeah, great movie. But yeah, that's quite the scene that was there. That picture, Glimmer for that they won in track or something. They were all excited last year, first natty in a century.
Oh,
that's unbelievable. I couldn't imagine. Andrew Messina, shout out to Katie, OG of the show. Shout out.
Shout out.
But
yeah, they celebrate this thing like it's like what is going on?
They celebrate like it was a national championship.
Yeah, they're acting like it's a good thing. Like you did this to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Look at the picture. Like, look at that photograph that Lloyd put on the screen.
It's like us, like in remembrance of what happened at Shady's. Like LSU did that to themselves.
Yeah, no, I mean they created that problem themselves.
Yeah, like in remembrance of Jordan Jefferson keeping all of his shoes. That was another bizarre. Like, why do you have so many shoes? Like, we get a lot of shoes.
Yeah.
You think I picked this colorway? I don't want the Pegasus. You can take those.
This?
Yeah,
have them.
You can take the Pegasus.
I don't want the Pegasus.
Where'd you get this video game? I bought it. Why do you have 2 PlayStations? Well, I bought one, and then the Fiesta Bowl. I don't know if you know this. They give you one. So now I have 2.
Now I have 2 of them. Goodness gracious.
Ugh.
Yeah, it would be crazy to have like an LSU tragedy that we'd sell like a...
Yeah, we do. It's 2011. In remembrance.
In remembrance.
Can't cross the 50.
God, that freaking national championship
And then
game.
TJ
I cried,
Yeldon.
Man, I was 9 years old.
Is that the last time you cried?
It's not the last time I cried, but it's the last time I cried because of an LSU game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sitting on that couch watching Trent Richardson run in my nightmares.
It felt inevitable.
I started bawling my eyes out, man. Freaking 9-year-old Noah watching LSU get demolished.
Probably wanted to play Alabama again in your young age.
Probably. I mean, this was like when I first became LSU football sentient, like remembering football games. It was 2011. Great season to finally.
Yeah, it'll make you like it and hate it.
Become a fan, and then it all came crumbling down, and I was enshrined into what the rest of my life would consist of.
It's going to be a problem for a while.
Yeah, I was like, this is not going to be good for what continues on. Like, even at women's basketball, I got home from the watch party after the Elite Eight the other night. Mom was like, how's everything? You doing all right? I was like, no, I'm pissed off. Like, my day is ruined. She's like, why? I was like, what do you mean, why? We lost.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see LSU win another national championship.
Losing is my least favorite feeling ever. I'd rather, like, chop fingers off than lose.
Yeah.
Lloyd, I mean, you got there with me in the Elite Eight after losing that game, like losing to UCLA in that game, just like the ugh.
Yeah,
feeling.
well, because I hate watching the last like 30 seconds when you realize it's like it's actually over, and I don't get like mad until I'm just like, God,
when you see the other team celebrating, and you're just like,
well, and the way that game played out, like the LSU played just a bad day, bad game on a great day to have a good one. Like if they played normal basketball, they win.
And
so all of that happens whenever you're sitting the last 30 seconds. Like, oh no, you're out of time, because I'm very much optimistic throughout the entire viewing experience. Where it's like, well, plenty of time.
You're like, Noah, get back in this. I'm like, no.
Yeah, 6 minutes left, and that's when people are like, it's over. I was like, 6 minutes is a long time in basketball.
Yeah.
And then you get to 30 seconds, and that's not really a long time whenever you need 8 points.
Oh, not at all.
And then
but
it
shout out
settles
to
in.
Christian for the Addams Family jingle.
Yeah, and then we had to show, you had to watch that coach.
Yeah. Close. No, Corey. Is it Corey Close?
We should know. Her name's monogrammed on her shirt.
Freaking jacket. It was sickening.
It was. But we will re-up as we have one more opportunity to win a national championship.
Yeah. Well, we have gymnastics getting rolling too.
Oh, yes,
postseason. See if they can pull that off.
I think they're traveling today. I forgot where they're going. It's not an attractive host site.
Yeah, because I think
they're the one
take
seed.
on. They're matched up with Arkansas in their deal. I think
First time to ever be a one overall seed.
How about that? After winning the whole shebang last year.
Today it's this is dangerous.
Where?
Penn State.
Oh wow.
Oh. What?
Oh wow! Whoa!
That's
whoa,
what
whoa,
I'm saying.
Whoa.
Lucky it's not. They don't have men's gymnastics. We're worried about. Wasn't that long ago.
It really wasn't.
We're worried about a spring game with 2 different teams playing. You're sending gymnastics to Penn State. I think we got our priorities out of line.
Yeah.
And why is it such a long road trip for
why
national champion number 1 seed has to go to Penn State? We can't go to
New Orleans.
That would be fantastic. Birmingham.
Yeah, something.
There's not that many hosts. There's not that. The tournament's all in one place now for men's basketball.
Yeah, and so is women's. It's in Tampa and San Antonio. You got plenty of other options.
There's plenty of Dallas.
Yeah. Whatever.
Penn State. Oh,
sickening.
That is sickening. I guess all the problems kind of rooted themselves out, though.
I hope.
All of the people that were involved.
Yeah. No, that's.
I mean, it killed him. He died like a week after not being able to coach football. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, see,
some people live for one thing.
That's what I thought was going to happen to Nick. I thought he was going to stop coaching football and he was just going
break a hip.
Flounder. Yeah.
Yeah, he still got his faculties. He's got car dealerships. Yeah, game day might have saved his life.
Game day saved his life.
He's never been happier.
This is the happiest he's ever been, except for when he was at LSU.
Yeah, or when he. Yeah, I would like to say when he hosts the trophy or hoists the trophy, but it doesn't seem like that bothers or affects him in any way
at all.
Good. I expected this.
Yeah, this was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Why are y'all acting weird?
Yeah. Why are y'all excited? Why are y'all happy about this? It's a normal day. But let's get this connection and let's feel the connection.
Athletic connection.
What was let me read some of these names. Kimberly was throwing some names at us. Wake up and go. George the Greek loves crossing swords with Tingle and Mullet. I'm not gonna do that. One's not happening.
But then what are we gonna do outside the show?
Courtney and Tingle double trouble. What did Carl say? The locker room.
I feel like that's
Tingle
taken.
court takeover.
30 Club.
Opening drive with Noah and Lloyd. Let's see. What else was there?
The athletic connection.
Tingle that court.
Yeah.
Tingle and go.
That's where the Tingle and Co. isn't bad.
No, I don't hate it. The morning tingle.
Morning Wood.
Okay.
WOULD. MOURNING.
The morning wood.
And it's like a question.
You're crying.
Yeah, what were you thinking? Pervert.
Sicko.
Sickening.
All right, what do we have here?
Car, exhaust, wheel, tire, charge, fade, illustrated, post, center, fleet, dig,
wheel,
rider.
post, dig, fade.
Those are all post routes. See, I guess people get it like if you didn't know ball.
Dig, fade. Yeah. But we know ball. I think.
Ain't no way that ain't right.
Yeah, there's no way. I was going to be really pissed off if it wasn't.
Center, fleet, car, writer, fraud.
Exhaust, weekend, fatigue.
They're trying to get you on these car.
Yeah.
Exhaust, weekend, fatigue. You need another one.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of.
I don't know what this word means.
Which one?
Victor.
Victor. I have no idea. Somebody help us. What's Victor? Rider.
Rider's fatigue.
Illustrated. Just shuffle it up for me real quick.
Maybe that's what.
Oh, shout out to Brian. Tire. So exhaust, weekend, fatigue, tire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a car tire. That's what they're trying.
That's what they got the car.
I love
out of
you,
here.
Brian. And then let's go from here. We've got
Fleet, charge, Victor,
and a frost.
Rider, illustrated. Just putting two and two together here. Car frost. Car center. Car fleet.
Sports. Sports car. Sports center. Sports illustrated. Sports writer.
Did you think of that?
No, Brian did.
Sports writer.
And Sports Illustrated. God, Brian.
Brian's good at this.
Brian, he's a smart man.
He is.
Fleet, Victor, Charge, Frost. Yeah, we got that one right.
Yeah.
We had that. Good. Good day for us.
PWHL teams.
I
I did not know
what
that.
that
I still
is.
don't know. What is PW? Should we not have said that out loud? What's PWHL?
It's got to be a hockey league.
Oh, no.
What is it?
All right, we'll see y'all. No, it's professional women's hockey.
Okay.
Didn't even know it existed,
Yeah,
to
big
be
fan.
honest.
Big fan.
I know they play college hockey.
Hockey. Big fan of the PWHL.
Do you see where our Sporkle our inspiration, they were going to do a live Sporkle tournament at the Sporkle Center.
Wow.
There's a Sporkle convention.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
We need to go.
Well, they banned them. They said they can't do it there anymore because of who they're associated with. It's like they gave Sporkle like 3 years of free pub.
Yeah.
So
is Christian alive? We have no idea. Should we call him?
No.
Nah, he's on a spring break. Let's let him have fun. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 to 9, here on your morning podcast with No Name as we try to figure that out. 7 to 9 every morning. We'll recap LSU baseball as they head to Norman, Oklahoma to have game number 1 tonight on a Thursday night. We'll have all of that to talk about tomorrow morning.
If it rolls into a doubleheader, we'll do a watch party.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, Let's play 2.
Let's do 2.
But if it doesn't,
and maybe we'll get Eads back in here maybe tomorrow. Talk some baseball. He did such an excellent job last time.
He might be there.
We guess we need to ask if he went to Norman or not. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 9.
Would you want to go?
Do what?
Would you want to go?
To what?
Norman, Oklahoma. To go, do what Eads does.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed, but I'm not, I was never really a big fan of, in school, we had to do, broadcast packages like he does for events. And I never really enjoyed sitting and editing and putting it all together and doing the voiceover and all of those things.
Do a stand-up.
That was never really my favorite. That's why I was like, I'd rather just sit at the microphone and talk.
Yeah, this is the dream.
Because, I would sit in my room and I'd have, my little microphone. I'd be like,
do it.
I'd do my, a little voiceover for the project, whatever I was talking about.
Like what?
I did one on Will Wade, and I was like, Will Wade heard the words that he was fired from LSU. You have to Kevin Harlan it.
Yeah.
Last year, Will Wade was fired.
That's what you should have done the whole time.
I should have done full Harlan.
And what if? This is terrible.
This is awful.
What are you talking about? That's how you just keep talking.
LSU football this season has spent an immense amount of money in the transfer portal and is expecting higher expectations this season as they make a run at the college football playoff. I have Lord Courtney here with me to give a quote on what he expects from LSU football. And then you cut it to whoever it is talking, and I didn't really like that. But I'd go to Norman to watch the game. The show with no name. There's your new show name. There you go. The No Name Show.
We are No Names.
We'll be back tomorrow morning with more of the No Name podcast from 7 to 9.
Presented by No Names.
Presented by No Names.